Welcome to Longview Farm. Situated in Lee Summit, Missouri, it is a large historical monument that was an inspirational U.S. achievement when it was built in 1914 by Mr. Robert Long. Today the mansion, now over 100 years old, has been revitalized and upkept by Mrs. Jenny Gale and its owner, Jean Marshall. Its 22,000 square feet contain 48 rooms, 6 fireplaces, 14 bedrooms, and 10 bathrooms. And it is now dedicated to hosting wonderful life events such as weddings and social gatherings, whose participants are marked by its rich history.
It's nice to upkeep the building and the surrounding area because there's so many people that grew up on the farm. You know, grew up in the houses by where the lake was and were never allowed inside this house or anything like that. So it's neat to have them, a lot of them come back and see the house and reminisce. And so we get to hear lots of neat stories about what it was like originally, and because we didn't get to see it. In its original form. It's just a really neat.
It's a touchstone for a lot of people. A lot of people were touched by the mansion because they had 200 families who lived out here and worked out here.
Mm-hmm. And Lula, who lived here, was very good to the families that lived here. She took care of everybody. They have so many fond memories about her. So it's nice to hear about her in the first person from them.
Yeah,
I mean, we never knew her, So it's a really important piece of history to a lot of people. And so it's nice to live that and be a part of it. My husband Hunter and I, we actually renovated the historic gatehouse down the street on the corner. So we live in one of the only homes originally left on the property. So there's only 5 buildings left, the mansion being one of them and our house being another one. So it's just neat to be a part of it. It really is.
That was what it was hailed when it was built, because it was the biggest construction project in the United States at that time. Mm-hmm. And as a result, the money invested in the show barn, which is far more than was invested in the house, for instance, or any other building, it was acclaimed as being that. And then he went on to get prize hogs, prize dairy, and cattle, the show horses. Everything was first class.
His barns, the flooring was like specialized wood, and it's just everything was.
The people who were milking the cows, who didn't invest in the milking machines, they were in white uniforms and gloves and go out and
it's one of those things, you see pictures of it originally and it was beautiful, but everything wasn't grown up and overgrown like it is now, and so you would hope that they could have been able to see, because he brought in over 100 species of trees that aren't known to Missouri. I mean, there's a lot of neat, plantings and trees and things like that out here that now that they're, mature and grown, it's beautiful. So I can only imagine what it was like originally. But a lot of people don't know that Lee Summit has this big farm over here. I grew up here, and until I met Jean and Hunter, I didn't know that this place was up here. And it was a big part of Kansas City. The Longs were very well known in Kansas City. They did a lot for Kansas City. So
his initial townhome is Kansas City Museum. They had a men's hotel for the men who worked here. They had the greenhouses, which was the only money-making enterprise they had here, which is strange with all the other stuff they had. Mm-hmm. They had a big racetrack, an official racetrack at the stadium that sat thousands of people. And a clubhouse there. They had a blacksmith shop, they had a veterinary, a dairy barn, cattle barn, hog barn, saddle horse barn,
farm manager houses, workers' homes.
Yeah, it was just a community. Mm-hmm. They had their newspaper, they had their own fire department, police department. He was very ahead of his time. Well, there's nothing else like it. It's over 100 years old. It is a piece of architecture that was famous when it was erected, and it still has a big glamorous appeal even today. People can come back and see and touch and feel what life was like 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. So we're personally invested.